Hello everyone, welcome to SQL Saturday Singapore 2020. You are watching the fourth session in Purple Line, Blockchain It's All About Data by Mohammad Asif. In this session, we're going to see how data plays a very important role in the blockchain network, how you can manage your data confidentiality without sacrificing the performance. You're going to see a lot of CosmosDB and Power BI, and of course, Azure Blockchain. Our speaker, Mohammad Asif, is one of our organizers here in Singapore SQL Pass. He's also a Microsoft MVP and a certified blockchain architect working in one of the big banks here in Singapore. So with that, this is Blockchain. It's all about data with Mohammad Asif.
So, hi everyone, thanks for joining. So, we will be talking about today blockchain. It's all about data. So, we will go through and see what it means. So, please have to join the PASS community. They organize a lot of free events and webinars and local groups. You can connect with the global data community, and there are a lot of virtual groups and volunteers. You can also volunteer for that. And if you have missed the past 2019, there are recordings available, so you can just go and download from the paststuff.com. And thanks to our global SQL Saturday sponsors uh, and the local sponsors. Like, and it's about me. I am Asif. I'm solution architect at AB Bank, and I'm also Microsoft MVP at Microsoft Azure platform. I'm certified on Hyperledger and Corda blockchain solutions. So when we think about the blockchain, so what first thing comes in your mind? Because it's like a really great hype from 2015 to now onwards. Like everyone thinks about blockchain is the latest technology, and it's like a really hype for that. So, but when someone asks me what is a blockchain, so first thing comes in our mind is it's all about data. Because if you see the first picture in 80s, how we used to collect the data. I mean, how we used to collect the data in terms of files, in terms of ledgers and notes. And there used to be a pile of, you can see there are a lot of files available, and so data used to be there. And then slowly we moved to, means when the internet came, and there are SQL, there are Excel, and there are Word came. So all these data moved to, means like the online stuff they used to store, and they used to manage in terms of folders, all those. So when it comes for the blockchain, so blockchain is nothing but we are managing the data in terms of on different, I mean, because in that there are multiple parties. So let's suppose if you want to buy a home in 80s, so what you used to do is like you used to, because for registering your home there used to be a land authority. It's like there used to be a court for that. You need to go sign up for different documents, and so there used to be different parties, and they all are means managing the whole amount of data. And it used to be a very time taking process, because suppose if you have to buy a property, or if you have to buy do something, so it takes means like a lot of approvals, takes a lot of time, you need to go different offices. And when it became the online, so it became more efficient. So with the help of blockchain, we are trying to manage the data. We are trying to manage the data in terms of with different parties. So you can say it is the distributed up app with having strong consistency support. So if you talk about the blockchain, so blockchain is nothing but a decentralized database with a strong consistency support. What it means is in current scenarios we are also managing the data, but this data is quite consistent and it's more secure, and with different parties. So let's see how it happens. So if you see in this current scenario, what are the problems we have? So we have we are the there are, suppose you want to buy a property, you are the buyer and you are the seller, property inspector, land registry, and insurer. So all is maintaining their own set of records. Like insurance agencies, they having their own set of records. Banks, they are maintaining their own set of records. Land registry also have the same thing, and property inspector. So there is a lot of trust gap there is a lot of inefficiency in the data, and it's quite expensive process. Why the trust gap is because
යනවා නේද මට මචං උදේ පාන්දර මේ මට වෙලාවක් වැටිලා තිබ්බ අර SQL Saturday Singapore session එකක් තිබ්බා.
sorry for interruption. Yeah. So there is a trust gap, there is an inefficiency in the data, and it's a quite expensive process because trust gap because you don't know means the data which is maintaining by the land registry or the data which is maintained by the insurance agencies is the correct data or not, because they're having their own standards to maintain the data. And also inefficiency because they are maintaining their own set of data, those same data might be duplicated. And like I have a report of all the means properties in my area means the as a land registry, but bank might be having different overview. And for each parties means like you are going to buy or sell, there are agents available, there are third parties available, so that makes the whole process quite expensive. So what if we bring all these parties on same platform, same application, so we can reduce such a lot of amount of risk. So let's see how the blockchain helps in this case. So what happens is blockchain nothing but is going to manage the data between the different parties. What it happens is land registry, insurer, buyer, seller, appraiser, they will come on a same platform that's called consortium. Consortium is nothing but a group of um, organizations which comes on a same platform, and they form a consortium, a group, and they do the transaction between themselves. So like there can be a for the property purchase there can be consortium formed between the buyer, seller, insurer, lending bank, property inspector. So what it helps, it helps to provide you a real time review. Means suppose if a property is you know posted in a marketplace for selling, so but there are a lot of buyers also available in the marketplace, so they can go and bid. Once they start bidding, it's a real time review, so you know that okay, this property is so and so cost, and you can see all the documents, is property is legitimate or not. Because in current scenario what happens is like I belongs to a country from India, and where one property might be 6 people registered on that. It might be a case because there might be a lot of discrepancy of the data, and there might be a lot of frauds. So but in this case what happens is all the part properties are verified and registered property. So whoever, so as a buyer you don't need to worry about the is property is correct or not, is it legitimate property or not. And there is no intermediary risk because as of now, because if lending bank, property inspector, insurers are all on the same platform, so there is no need of mediator, for going for a bank loan or for an insurance. So you don't need any mediator, you can just directly contact to them. And this process is whole automated settlement with reduced transaction fees, so the amount of fees is charged quite less. And there is a multi-party auditing. Multi-party auditing, it means in the workflow they can suppose seller have posted the bid, posted the property, buyer have bid the property, and seller like the bid of only one buyer or two buyers, so he can reject all the bids. So then if in the multi parties workflow, if at any stage someone wants to quit, he can do that, he can reject that. In demo we will see how exactly it happens. And it's a decentralized contract execution because whole process is all the terms and conditions are done in terms of smart contracts, which is a digital smart contract. So if you are accepting or you are rejecting, you need to bind with the terms and conditions with the consortium, so you can define your terms and conditions in that. But building a blockchain, because I in my company, when I spoke about the blockchain application to my like boss, he says why should I spend extra $1,000 on some different application. It's not so simple, you can just go and create a blockchain application. It's a lot of huge undertaking. Means you need to create, write a business logic, you need to maintain infrastructure, you need to maintain APIs, you need to manage the manually deploy the ledger, and you need to have resources, like which is expertise in that, and it's quite a difficult process. As a initial, suppose if you want to test your idea, and you have to create a lot of things to just create a simple prototype, and you have to spend a lot of millions of, I mean, like thousands of dollars just to for creating a small prototype. So what it happens is, my situation, like our situation was like when I talked about my boss on this, so he said, oh, like it's a really big task. So like we were really confused, like how to start with the blockchain. So then we did some research and we came with the idea of the Azure blockchain. And Azure blockchain is a really helpful tool for in terms of creating the whole infrastructure and managing the whole environment of the blockchain. So what it helps makes is, it helps you to connect with your existing applications. Like suppose if you're having a SharePoint app, if you're having .NET app, or if you're having Java app, and you can interact with the blockchain ledger directly with the help of APIs. They provide Azure Blockchain as a service. So you can expose the APIs to interact with your existing applications. Either it's in LinkedIn, or maybe in Salesforce or SAP or whatever. And it also provides you the capability of interacting with the different chains. So it's like the interoperability of the blockchain network. So it's really a nice feature for that. So it helps to solve a lot of problems. So as of now, blockchain means Azure Blockchain provides a couple of services, which is like Azure Blockchain as a service, Azure Blockchain as a Workbench, and Azure Data Manager. So let me just go through a quickly this online demo and show you on that. So if you can see here in Azure Blockchain, we have three services: Azure Blockchain as a service, Azure Blockchain as a Workbench, and there are a couple of predefined templates available here. So predefined template, what it helps is, you can also create your own template and means like push to the Azure Marketplace, which is ARM template. And this two blockchain service is provided by Microsoft Azure. So what if you want to create a simple prototype about the Azure blockchain? So you can just go for the Azure Blockchain Workbench. So you just need to choose the resources. You need to create your own resource. Suppose I am going to create my resource like a demo Azure blockchain. You need to choose the region which you are going to deploy. So suppose I am going to choose Southeast Asia. You can provide your prefix, password for that. This database password is because what happens is, on the behind, when we create the Azure blockchain, so all the data is stored on the blockchain as in terms of state. But what we want is, Microsoft Azure provide a feature. You can also get the data in SQL Server database, which is your off-chain storage. So whatever the actions you are performing on the blockchain network, and you can capture those data in SQL Server database. That makes Microsoft Azure blockchain different from others. It's really a nice feature because you can use the data in terms of reporting, in terms of. So let me show you how exactly it happens. Is This is for Microsoft Azure Workbench, and it same applies for the Azure blockchain as a service. So in slide, if you can see here, we are collecting data from the different sources. Like suppose if you have a data of IoT data, if you have a logs data, if you have a media data, files data. So what you can do is, you can capture the data with the help of Azure IoT Central or Service Bus, and then you can create logic apps to push the data into Azure Blockchain as a Service, and you can do a reporting for that. This is for the Azure Blockchain as a Service, but it same applies for the Azure Workbench. Azure Workbench, when you create the Azure Workbench, it for your prototype, so it helps you to, yeah. So it already by default it create all those resources. So let me show you. So in this advanced settings, you can see there are the two options. One is creating your new network and using your existing network. What it means is, suppose you are going to create a whole consortium, which is a group of organization consortium and a new network. So you will be admin for that. So you need to choose the option for the create new. But if you are going to choose for the existing one, like suppose if you have already existing network available for the Ethereum, so you can choose existing one. And for blockchain service, because when you create the Azure blockchain workbench for your prototype, it also create Azure blockchain as a service in the behind. So you can choose your basic or standard. If you are moving for production related network, so you can choose for standard. If you are choosing for a dev or test environment, so you can choose as a basic. And the second step comes for managing your active directory. So what it helps is blockchain Workbench provided by Microsoft Azure. It is based on proof of authority, sorry, proof of identity. So proof of identity is nothing but you should know the people who are in your consortium. So when the blockchain was first created, if you remember the Bitcoin, so Bitcoin was based on proof of stake, which was open blockchain network, for the open blockchain network. So but when the it comes for Microsoft Azure, so it is a private blockchain network. So what it is difference from private or to public blockchain is, in public blockchain network, anyone can participate in the network and can perform the transactions. So while performing the transaction, they need to pay a fee in terms of gas. So that's why you buy the coins. But when it comes for the private blockchain network, you don't need to pay any fees for the network, because Microsoft Azure is already going to create a whole infrastructure for you. So they are going to maintain of your all fees and cost and everything for you. So I will go and show in the demo later. Yeah. So I have already actually, for because this process takes almost 45 minutes to creating Azure blockchain workbench, because it creates a lot of resources in the behind. I have already created for the demo purpose. So let me show how exactly it happens. So if you can see here, my Azure blockchain workbench resources. So there is an app service, which is nothing but my application. So let me go and launch my application first. So this is my Azure Workbench. So if you can see here, once my Azure Blockchain Workbench is ready, I don't need to create a UI. I don't need to create anything. I just need to upload my smart contracts, which is written in a language called Solidity. I will show how exactly it happens. So you just need to upload two files. One is your JSON file. JSON file is nothing but your metadata file for reading your permissions, reading your states, reading your workflows. So how exactly is? So these are the two files which I have. Let me show quickly in Visual Studio Code. So if you can see, this is the application roles in the metadata file I will define. We have defined, and the workflows, and then we have defined what are the functions we have, and then we have a states. So these all details will be defined in the metadata file, which is a JSON file, which I will upload here. And then we will have next is our contract. This is a smart contract, so that's why I explained earlier. So when we are doing any terms of transaction in a consortium, so we need to, for performing the transaction, we need to write the smart contracts. So this smart contracts will be based on your terms and conditions. So what exactly terms and conditions you want. So like suppose when I did my blockchain for asset management process, So these two files you need to upload. So once you upload the JSON file, let me show quickly. So once I upload my metadata file, it will ask for my the contract file. So I can upload the smart contract file. So this is quite simple. You just need to write your smart contracts for creating a prototype. You can test your logic. So your smart contract nothing but your logic. So you don't need to create a UI for that, and you just upload, and it will appear here. They will be having a proper versioning. So if you can see here, I have this is my first version, which is deployed 14 hours ago, and once you upload the new version of your for testing your smart contracts, so it will be replaced. Okay, so when I created this consortium, so currently I have a 5 members. So in my 5 members, there is a land of authority, which is from suppose you want to buy a home. So there will be it's like every state will have a land of authority. There will be having it's like owner. Owner is nothing but your seller who is going to sell the properties, and there is a buyers. So I have currently one buyer. There might be more buyers for that. Okay, so suppose I have a different members like. So I can choose them a role a buyer, and I can assign them a role buyer here. So my buyer is added. Okay. So similar, I have inspector, which is a property inspector. So these are all the members, which is the different parties in my, if you can see in my, so there are land of registry, insurer, buyer, seller, appraiser, like a bank, so different roles available in a consortium. So which you can add it here. And these are all based on proof of identity, means you need to be registered with the blockchain network. So you need to be registered with the blockchain Azure Active Directory with the network. But it might be that suppose I have a user which is from somewhere from the village area, and but he is not registered with my blockchain network, but he wants to perform a transaction on the blockchain network. That's also possible. That is possible with the help of the guest user. So you can create as a guest user and allow. So let me show how exactly it happens is once you create the blockchain workbench, sorry, once you create the blockchain workbench, all the resources will be there. So you need to configure your active directory. Active directory will be here. So in active directory, whoever the users are here, so that will be only able to perform the transaction on the blockchain network. So suppose if you don't want to register a user on the blockchain network, and so what you can do is you can invite him as a guest user. So suppose if you have a Gmail account or something, so you can provide those users as a guest user, and they will be able to also perform the transaction. But make sure all the users are somehow either they are registered on the blockchain network or either as a guest user, so they need to be known in the consortium. So that's the whole idea. So what exactly happens is it also whatever the transaction we are performing on the blockchain network, so with the help of event grid, yeah, so this is the event grid. So with the help of event grid, we are going to capture all those transaction data and store into SQL Server database, and that helps to do our reporting. So this is our SQL Server. Let me go and make it SQL Server database. So you can see all the transaction data. Let me show and quickly show you the data. So you can see all the contract transaction details and workflow details, how many users we have, we can see here on the blockchain network. So all these states, contract information, we can like contract event, verified, made offer, we can do that. So let's see in picture how exactly it happens. Suppose I want to sell a home of 3 BHK condo in Raffles, and the price is 980,000. So if you can see here, the contract is being created on the blockchain network, and this data we will capture with the help of event grid to the SQL Server database. So once the contract is being created, currently my contract is in pre-active assets, because why it happens is when I created this demo, so I don't have this state. So it was only means like once buyer comes on the platform, they used to sell the assets. So it used to be directly go in the active states. But there was one of my friends suggested how you will ensure that I have listed the property on your platform is the legitimate properties. Maybe I have registered your property on my name. So how you will do that? So what we try to do that is we try to create a pre-active state, and this pre-active state will be validated by the land of authority. So land of authority means for every state there will be a land of authority. So they will verify this property is legitimate or not. So they will verify all the documents, they will verify all the details of the property, and once they approve, then only it will be in active state for selling or for buying in the marketplace. So let's see how exactly it happens. So my land of authority is demo 2 user. So let me log in as a demo 2. Account. So I can see here, and once I can come, once I click on that, so there will be option for taking action. So this taking action, I can accept the property and I can reject the property. So I will verify all the details of the property, and all the properties having a unique hash address, and all the activities you can see here. So once I approve the property, the status will change, and the activity will be recorded here. So if you can see here, the action is being performed on the blockchain network, and this data we are going to capture. So you can see the state is changed to active, and now it is available for buying the property. And yeah, so let's come now. If you see that state is changed to active, and see who is the buyer. So buyer is James, which is demo 4 account. So let me log out. Now I am logging as a James account, so I can go and bid for the property, make offer. So while making the offer, I need to choose the inspector. So this property inspector will verify my property details, and like suppose I have 950,000. If you see, all the activities is being registered on the, so this is with the help of recorded activities and how the property was initiated. So you know the provenance, you know the from where exactly it was originated. So no one can make the, means like it's really hard to make the fraud and change all the transaction details from starting to end with the help of blockchain. So that's why it helps to improve the data quality, it helps to improve the process, it helps to reduce the fee, and it also helps to maintain the transparency in the whole transaction. So now I have as a buyer, I have done my bidding, and because I am logging as a seller account, so if you can see the state is changed, offer is placed, and there will be a, sorry, So there will be offer price is 950,000, and who have placed the offer, what is the inspector on buyer, and we can verify on that. So I can accept the offer, I can reject, or I can terminate the whole transaction. So at any state means you can, with the help of smart contracts, you can do perform action, and you can see this action is being taken. Now what I want to do is all the state is being changed, and if you can see when my database is there. Okay, so you see the offer is made, verify land, make offer. All this data is being captured on the blockchain network, and they having a unique hash on that. Okay, now what I want to do is whatever the data which I have captured on the blockchain network as a in terms of off-chain storage, in terms of SQL, I want to display in the Power BI report. Okay. So what I will do is let me log into my VM. Okay, so until then, let's quickly. So this is was the for creating the blockchain prototype. Means like suppose if you want to test a prototype in a quick or short time interval, so you can create a prototype with the help of Azure Workbench, and you can test your idea. Means like just in couple of hours or maybe 1 or 2 days. Okay. Now the second thing comes is if we want to move this blockchain prototype to the production and production environment and make it more a scalable solution, then what it helps, then it we need to create a we need to publish into Azure Blockchain as a service. By default, for Azure Workbench, they also provide Azure Blockchain as a service in the resources, if you can see. But actually, that solution is because Azure Workbench create a lot of resources while you're going to create Azure Workbench, so there will be a lot of resources. So the cost will be bit high. So that's why I don't want all these resources to be created. So what I want is once I tested my prototype in the Azure Workbench, I want to publish that into blockchain network. So what it helps is we can just go and create Azure Blockchain as a service, so which is our second option. So Azure Blockchain as a service is quite simple. You can just create a whole blockchain network in few clicks. You just need to provide your resource details, which by default currently it is supporting as a quorum protocol, but in future it might be a Hyperledger Fabric as well. Hyperledger Fabric is another blockchain framework available for private blockchain network. And this is a consortium. As I told earlier, we need to consortium is the group of the companies or organizations, so they comes on the same platform. Okay, so this is a consortium. You need to name the consortium. If you are uh, the guy means like who is managing the consortium, and you need to provide the member details. So by default, they having two options. If you are going to create for the production, you need to choose standard, and if means it will be having two validator nodes. And if you are just going to create for your it's like a dev or test environment, so you can just choose the basic, which is quite cheap compared to others. Okay. And this is the node password you need to provide, because what the thing blockchain service from Azure makes different is integration capabilities. Like suppose when you are going to create a Azure blockchain workbench, it also helps to expose the API. Let me show you the APIs as well. Yeah. Let's load another. So whatever the data I am performing, transactions I am performing here, I can capture this data in my .NET application, Java application with the help of API. So let me show quickly. So when you create a Azure Blockchain Workbench, it in the one of the resources, it also exposes the API. So this is the Swagger API resources. You can consume the API. So you can get all the contract details. You can get user details. So you can get all the workflows, how it's going to perform. So you can display all those data in your uh, .NET, Java, or SAP applications. Or you can perform the actions in the blockchain network. I mean, suppose you want to perform the actions from a SharePoint form to the blockchain network. So with the help of APIs, you can do that. Okay. So let me see my. So whatever the transactions we have performed on the blockchain network, so we can see all those transaction details in terms of our BI report. We just need to. Okay, just wait a minute. It's taking a time. Okay, so for creating the Azure blockchain as a service, as I told earlier, we can just do in a few clicks. We don't need to provide. And once Azure blockchain as a service is created, so you can means connect to the service means in the development environment, like using Azure blockchain as a development kit, which is provided for the VS Code extension. So in VS Code extension, you can see here Azure blockchain as a development kit is given. So this blockchain development kit helps you to connect with Azure blockchain as a service, and you can deploy your smart. You don't need to write. It's like when you are doing the creating the development environment, it's a really a tedious task. You need to install a different tools separately. But for if you have installed only the blockchain development kit, you don't need to do that. So what you can do, you can just build your contracts, you can deploy your contracts. And one of the really nice feature about blockchain development kit is they provide you option for creating the logic apps. And from you can generate your data logic apps, you can generate your microservices logic apps from here itself. So you just need to create a click on the data, and it will you just need to choose your logic app. And what you need to do is once you deployed this smart contracts by means deploy a smart contract, so you will get the smart contract address. So how exactly is there is let me show in the output. So this is a smart contract address, so you just need to provide this smart contract information here, and it will ask you to choose your means like subscription, and the logic app will be created. Once the logic app is created, you can see here this is my logic app for tasks completed and created. So what it is, I have created a simple CRUD application for capturing the data on the blockchain network. So let me show how exactly it looks like. This is my to-do list app, which is connected to my blockchain Azure blockchain network. So how exactly is for connecting to the blockchain network, you need some intermediary if you are in development environment. So there is a tool called MetaMask, which helps you to connect the blockchain network. So if you can see, I am connected to ABS, which is nothing but my ABS is. So Azure blockchain as a workbench, which is means ABS is nothing but Azure blockchain workbench. So how exactly I have connected to? So once you have created the Azure blockchain as a service, I have already created for the demo purpose. So you will get this a transaction node. So you can add multiple transaction node. Currently, because I am the only one user, so I have created one. But if suppose if you're having a multiple organization, so they might having their own node. So what you can do is you can just create your own transaction node. Yeah, one transaction node, you need to provide the transaction node details and password and confirm password, and then you can create a multiple nodes for each different organization, and this transaction nodes will have the connection string, and this will help you to connect the blockchain network. So this is connection string which I need to provide when we are going to create a this connection with the local setup. So I need to provide this RPC endpoint URL here. So if you can see, this already exists because I have already created for this ABS. Okay, so once I have created this, when you install this blockchain tool in blockchain development kit in your VS Code extension, so you will be able to connect to your network. I have already created, so you can see SQL Server demo con, which is my consortium network, and I have administrator 2, so which is my this is administrator 2 connected. So I can just right click and deploy the smart contracts on my blockchain network, and I can create uh, logic apps for that. Now what I want is actually I am running the whole application. So in my local, so by with connecting with the Azure Blockchain as a Service. So let's see how exactly it happens. So test 3. So once we are performing the transaction on the blockchain network, currently what is happening is we are not able to see the data. It's like we don't know how exactly. Means like I can see in my UI the transaction is completed and confirm transactions, all those details. But as a like this user, I want to see this captured data. How exactly we will get it? So what we can do is with the help of Logic app. So you just need to copy this Logic app from here, which is generated by choosing the option generate data or for the event. Okay, you can come to Logic app here. You can create one new Logic app. Like suppose I have created for like a test Logic app, and this is I'm going to create a custom one, but there are already predefined templates available for the yes, for different workflows. Like suppose currently I just want to capture the data with the help of Logic app, which we are performing on the blockchain network, and push to the SQL Server database. But there might be like suppose you want to perform an email transaction to your the respected parties, so you can also do this. So it helps to is when someone is going to perform the transaction on the blockchain network, like suppose in case when you are posting the properties on your consortium network, so everyone should receive an email notification. So what we can do is we can capture those events with the help of Logic apps or event grid. And so if you can see here, this is the connector which I have. So I have already a connection, app connection I have created, and this is a SQL Server connection which I have created a SQL Server database, and so I can choose SQL Server database. So SQL Server, I need to provide a SQL Server name. So let me just go and for the to-do list, my SQL Server name and the database. And then you need to provide your DB admin, I'm sorry, it's a username and password. what we'll do is it will help to create a logic app for that. So we are going to capture whatever the transactions we are going to perform on the blockchain network and push the data into the SQL Server database. So this we are doing is we are going to create for this is the I have two events. One is a task created and a task completed. So I'm going to capture for the task created event, and so you can see this is quite simple. Like we just need to write the business logic, and we have a quick option to means generate the logic apps. Means to capture the event, I can create the logic apps from the Visual Studio Code itself, and data logic. It's like, and then I just need to copy this logic apps for creating the logic apps, and it will be all created here. Okay, and now let's see in the action how exactly it happens. Is So this is my logic app, and I have a to-do list SQL Server database. So let me log in into that. So I have a currently few tasks already here, like task 1, task 2, task 3 completed, and let me do more. So what I will do is task 4 created. So it will ask for my confirmation, because currently I am in the development environment and I am connecting the blockchain network with the help of MetaMask plugin. So I just need to confirm every time. But when you are in production, so you don't need to do that, all those things, because once you deploy it on some particular smart contract address, so it will directly connect to that. So you can see here task 4 is completed, and sorry, I think I need to run one more time. So if you can see this logic app is called here, and now my data will be created here, like task 4 created, task 5 I think some, yeah. So this is how it works, because by default there are a lot of predefined templates available, so you can just go and try for that if you want. Okay, so like let me show how exactly. This tool, and this is okay. So this was basically one what we have covered is in the demo, means like we have seen let me, oh, I think Power BI, let me show the Power BI is on. Okay, so if you can see this data, whatever we have captured from the Azure Blockchain Workbench, so we have a different we have different states, like pre-active states and active state, and so all the, it's like how many assets we have. Means we have a 3 pre-active states, we have a 2 active states, we have a 2 offer placed, and we have 1 pending inspection. So let's see in my Azure Blockchain Workbench how many we have. Okay, so all this, like how many states you are going to perform, so all these are captured in that. Okay, and then we, like how many properties we have, like we have a 2 BHK condo and all those. So this is quite simple in terms of when you are creating a simple prototype and you want to capture the data and display in terms of Power BI report. So that's how it works, and same as it is, it works for the SQL Server as a blockchain as a service. So we can capture the event with the help of event grid or with the help of logic apps, and can display the data in terms of Power BI report or something. Yeah. and a few days before I was trying to do with the Power Apps. So we can create a simple mobile app with the help of Power Apps, and they have also same connector for. Let me show you the connector, how exactly it looks like. If you can see, this publish data to the smart contract to the SQL Server database. There are predefined templates available for that, and for the event grids, and for the data service microservice, for the signature. So you can just try this out. These are the predefined templates available for same for the Power Apps, same for the Logic Apps. Sorry. Yeah. So coming back to the slides. Yeah. So yeah. So in summary, we have covered for the what is a blockchain, and how we solve the problems related to the blockchain. And then we have gone through the Azure Blockchain as a Service, Blockchain Workbench, and then we have seen how we can capture the data from the Azure Blockchain Workbench and can see in terms of Power BI report. And then we have seen how we can capture the data as a blockchain as a service with the help of logic apps. So if you have any questions, you can ask. You can put in the chat box, or you can let me see if any questions there. Yeah, I think I don't have any questions here. Okay, thanks for yeah, thanks for joining the session. In few minutes, our next speaker Naginder will be there. So there are few resources you can just go and try out for that, and please provide your feedback on the link given here. You can scan the QR code. Let me see. Please help to provide your feedback, because there will be lucky draw, whoever have done the feedback, so they might be selected for the lucky draw. So please help to provide your feedback. Thank you for this session.